Today I have two stories from two very different couples with different circumstances, but both pretty much ended the same way. The two husbands died, leaving their grieving widows to discover huge secrets, that they were literally bankrupt. Okay, the first story is a friend of mine. Her parents, they lived a nice lifestyle, nothing extravagant, but they always had money. While in their 70s, the husband passed away suddenly. The wife, my friend's mom, didn't really have any worries about money. She thought everything would be okay. They had investments, they had the house, but what she didn't know was that years prior, her husband had made some very shady, risky investments and lost most everything that they had. As things spiraled and got worse, he had used the equity in their home to fund their lifestyle, to cover up the fact that he had lost everything that they owned. The wife knew none of this, and now she was left to live off of Social Security alone and literally bankrupt. Now, the second situation I want to share is I just heard this story just a few weeks ago about a couple who had been married since high school. He had created his own business through the years. She was a stay-at-home mom. Fast forward, they're in their late 50s, and the husband passes away from a long illness. The wife then discovers that the business had been bankrupt for years and had just been running on fumes. She then sold the business for pennies on the dollar. Wasn't even enough to pay off all of their outstanding debts. She sold the house, bought a one-bedroom condo, and here she is at 60 having to start her life over from scratch. So let's just look for a second at what these two stories do have in common. Now, I can assure you first that these two couples, they were normal, everyday people. They didn't appear to be living a shady or an edgy, lifestyle. They look like just any other couple that you might know. Number two, both of the wives were completely in the dark about their financial situation. And it appears that it was that way through the entire marriage. Now, what I don't know is if the wives thought they knew their financial situation and their husbands were lying to them, or if the women were just totally oblivious and had no involvement at all with the household finances. The third thing that these stories have in common is in both situations, it took the husband's death in order to uncover everything. I mean, how much longer could they have kept it going? Could keeping these secrets and the pressure of their financial situations contributed to their early deaths? Possibly. And the fourth thing that they had in common with these two stories is that both of the women were older. One in their late 50s, the other in their 70s. So it made starting over almost impossible. Now, in these two stories, it's the men that committed the wrongs, but financial infidelity can happen on both sides. What makes the husband's side of it more commonly devastating is that they're usually the breadwinners of the household. Not always, but in our generation and younger generations, that was a common thing. And even if they weren't the sole income earner, their income, meant quite a bit to the bottom line. And in a lot of situations, they are the ones that handled, the finances, handled the business aspect, if they were business owners, handled the retirement, the investments. But even today, where there's more equality in the home, there's usually one that takes care of the finances. They enjoy it more, or that's one of their strengths. There's usually one person that takes care of it. And just because you and your partner aren't legally married, it doesn't mean that something like this couldn't wreck your life. Because if your finances, if your property, if everything is intermingled, then there's a vulnerability there. In these two stories that I shared with you, did the wives, did they suspect anything? Did they have any reason to not trust their husbands? I don't know those details. But it got me to thinking that, maybe this isn't a rare event. Maybe this could happen. Maybe it does happen a lot more than we hear about. So I did some research, and I tried to find some things on, how do you prevent something like this from happening? What are some of the clues that you need to be wary of that would let you know that something might not be right? Okay, first on the list, your spouse, whether it's woman or man, they avoid the topic of anything financial. They get defensive about it. They change the subject when you bring it up. They minimize your concerns about it, or they even get irritated when you bring it up. Number two, they discourage any involvement from you, whatever form that means. They want all control of the finances and discourage you from getting involved at all. Number three, unexplained withdrawals, unexplained expenses. Number four, you're getting mail from banks or companies that you don't know that you normally deal with. Number five is you start missing mail from banks and credit cards and things like that. Things that you should be getting mail for, you're starting to miss that. Or you can't get online and check those accounts anymore for some reason. And number six, regarding retirement, there's a reluctance to even discuss the situation, a reluctance to discuss investment accounts related to retirement. So, okay, I apologize for bringing you two stories today on such a gloomy topic, but I heard them recently and they happened fairly close together, and it just got me to thinking that maybe this is more common than I thought it was. So what is the moral of these stories? When immoral behaviors are present in a relationship that's been built on trust, sometimes there isn't one. Bad things can happen to good people. And if you have no reason to doubt your spouse, I am not trying to fill you with any suspicions. But if you're not 100% sure, what can you do? First thing is you have to get involved with the finances of your household. And you don't have to just get involved, but you need to stay involved. It's not a one and done. I think it should be a joint effort. Whether you enjoy that type of thing or not, you need to have online access, both of you, to all of your accounts. You can sign up for informed delivery. That's a thing that the USPS, the Postal Service, you can sign up on their website for, they'll send you an email every day that tells you the mail and the packages that you're going to be receiving. Of course, that's only through the post office, but that is a huge help. Number two is to separate your finances. You have your accounts, he has his accounts, and then you have a common household account that you both contribute to. Have credit cards in your individual names. At least if something was to happen to the relationship, you'd have credit built up in your own name. Number two is make sure your name is listed on the deed of the house. I know someone who lost the house in a divorce because their name wasn't on the deed, even though they bought the house together after they were married. And lastly, If you're getting married, maybe consider a prenup. Maybe that's something that you look into. Now, none of these things sound romantic, but you've heard the saying that there is no romance without finance. And I hate hearing these kind of stories. They're shocking, and you don't want anybody to have to go through those kinds of things. Let me know in the comments if you've heard a similar story. Please share it with us. And I would love for you to subscribe as well. The more people I can share this information with, the better. It's all about staying informed. I hope you have a great week ahead, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.